On our way to YCS London. We're on the train from Datchet to Waterloo. It's about 6:30 in the morning, so it is quite early, but hey, it's a sacrifice we make for this game, right? So here I am. Lucky hat. Lucky shirt. And I'm not going to show you, but lucky boxers too. We got our backpack. In it we have a few extra decks and a couple other things. We got a map with us. We should be meeting up with Claudia at some point, and she's got a different map for us, which we'll be using to hopefully promote the channel as well. Trade binder, obviously. We got a few decks so that if I end up against dropouts like I did a couple times last year, I can maybe find someone around that wants to play and I can play with a different deck. And I'll see you guys there. See, we've made it to London Waterloo. We met up with Claudia, got a luckier hat, and we're making our way now to the Jubilee line and then to the DLR so we can get to YCS London, hopefully in time for registration. Guys, so we've made it to the XL Center. We're gonna have to walk around the side of it to get to the YCS entrance, but once we get there, we'll be off and running. Time is 8:30. I'd like to have gotten here about half hour earlier, but what with the how busy the rails are today, makes sense. So yeah, should be around there in a couple minutes. Sure, as a lot of you probably heard by now, YCS London was a bit of a mess. I didn't get in, but I did get into the late registration. So this is me get update after the first round that I've played. What basically ended up happening was I'm playing for Sadie McKnight, and I played against Salamangre. The first match was really close. I actually had the board, and I had McKnight Indigo Eclipse with a World Legacy Secrets, so I was locking out a monster effect. However, I could only lock out one monster effect at a time, or two monster effects at a time. So I took out the extra deck zone so that his Salamangreats couldn't keep it. However, he then ended up going into his own Avermax and ended up wiping the board with me. So that's what ended up happening with that one. Round two, I sided in to deal with his back row because Salamangreat was a problem in round one. So was Rage, and I sided in to deal with his back row, and what ended up happening at the end of the day was he was able to outgrind me, and I wasn't able to do anything about his back row. So, okay, so the second round I played Necro Valley. First game I lost because he was able to get me in a situation where I couldn't special summon anything but Gravekeeper monsters. I kind of hurt myself because I stole his Gravekeeper's Commandant, and to protect my Mech Knight, Morningstar. And basically what ended up happening is because I couldn't find a way to get rid of his Gravekeeper, his spell card, which turns off the ability to special summon everything but Gravekeepers, really hindered my ability to play my deck. Round two, I side in two TTs. I go first again. I set TT and I set World Legacy Secrets, and I put myself in a situation where I've got Mech Knight Morningstar on board and Mech Knight Indigo Eclipse underneath it. His turn starts. I also had Purple Nightfall on board. So his turn started, and what I did was he went through his whole combo. He didn't really build a great board, but he had Necro Valley and one card. He had Necro Valley and one card set. At the end of his turn, activated my TT. I activated Purple Nightfall, banished Purple Nightfall to search out Yellow Star. Then I activated TT, pitched the Yellow Star, and popped his Necro Valley and his face down trap. What then ended up happening was In round 3, I got rid of the anti-spell fragrance that I'd also sided in for round 2, and I drew into TT again, which was really useful. He went first, he built his board, he put me in a situation where I was going to have a bit of a hard time. I had to get over his fusion monster, he had Necro Valley on board, and he had a face down, and that was basically his board. It wasn't super oppressive, though. I had a couple Crusaders in hand, so I normal summoned one, linked off to my second, to Magius, and what then ended up happening was he activated Summon Limit. I activated TT from my hand, popped his Summon Limit, and was able to continue comboing off. I went off completely, and I ended up building a really big board with Equimax, and Mekk-Knight Morningstar, Mekk-Knight Indigo Eclipse underneath it. So Equimax was sitting at 4,400, and I had face down World Legacy's Secret and World Legacy's Whisper. He went into his next turn with effectively just Necro Valley on board, and he tried to activate Duality. I activated Whispers and moved Indigo Eclipse because I didn't want him digging into his deck, and he couldn't do anything from there, and that was game. Alright, I'll see you guys in the next round. Round 3, for me anyway, ended with a draw. Bit of a shame. I played Salamangreat again. That's frustrating. I get frustrated playing that deck. First game, I tie mate and lock him on turn 1, and I build Avermax, and I have World Legacy Secrets set, and I have a Mekk-Knight engraved to bring back with it, and so everything was really coming up me. However, at the end of the day, he kept playing through. He tried to play through, which I mean I respect him for that, but there was nothing he could do, and he ended up scooping. Game 2 starts. Again, I tie mate and lock him. He goes straight into Pancratops and just starts to break my board. Puts me in a situation where I'm sort of having to play off the back foot. I had several Mekk-Knights in hand, which is why I didn't just scoop, because I thought, well, there's still a chance to recur this. And I literally had World Legacy Secrets Twin Twistered 3 times in the game, and there was nothing I could do. He borrow loaded my Avermax, he took that, and then he borrow loaded something every turn, and there was just nothing I could do. So it was a shame. It ended up ending literally, I scooped with about 50 seconds left because I realized there was nothing I could do at that point. And that was that. And so it ended up as a draw. So currently for the day I'm 1-1-1, which is kind of cool, I guess. However, I'm technically on paper X3-1. So that's a bit of a shame. But yep, see you after the next round. End of round 4 for me. My opponent played pure ghost trick, and by that I mean they did the trick of ghosting the match. That was a bye, so it's a win on the score sheet, but I don't really count it. So hopefully I don't end up with the same situation next round. But there's 2 left, so who knows? So it's the end of round 5 for me. Played against Cyber Dragon. I hate Cyber Dragon, especially with Mega Fleet being a constant risk for my deck. First round, I won the die toss, so I made him go first. I ended up winning the first round. I managed to tie mate and lock him, and then I managed to also put Ibli on his side of the field, so there wasn't a whole lot he could do. He did tribute off the Ibli for Galaxy Soldier and started going off that way, but at the end of the day, it was just too late. He had to put too many resources into getting rid of the board I'd managed to build. Game 2, we legitimately got to the point where at one point neither of us had anything on the field, probably about turn 7 or 8. And it became who could get the top deck out first. And he drew into Cyber Emergency. Is it Emergency? Yeah, Cyber Emergency. And he managed to recur a field with enough oomph to push me out. So that was frustrating. 5 minutes left on the clock. Made him go first. He built Infinity. I drew System down, but I drew really nothing else that I could do to give him trouble. So I ended up losing in time because I forgot Cyber Infinity could negate spells and traps. I thought it only... I misremembered. I thought it only negated monsters. I activated Cyber system down, paid 1,000 life points, lost due to time. That's a nuisance, but c'est la vie. I got one more round. At the end of the day, I've gone 1 win, 1 tie, 2 losses. Oh no, 2 wins, 1 tie, 1 loss. So I'm 2-1-1, 7 points. Hoping to be 10 by the end of this. I'm hoping, though, I don't really want to end up with another ghost trick issue where I end up with an empty chair opposite me. So, hey, all I can do is hope for it, and we'll see what happens. See ya after round 6. Alright, so last round, round 6. That was yet another loss. Went to game 3 again. This time I was against Pendulum, which is a shame. I don't like Pendulum. The problem I have with Pendulum is if I stop them at one point, they continue just going. But, hey, not much I can do about that. So, I'm not totally unhappy with how I went, you know, considering the fact I got 2 losses straight off the bat before I even started. I ended up going with 2 losses, plus the 3 losses, which is unfortunate. Again, Cyber Dragon, Pendulum, and Salamangreat, all decks that just, 2 decks that just drive me nuts, and Cyber Dragon, which is just a problem matchup for me. Yeah. So, at the end of the day, I thought I'd have done better with what I was playing, but I drew matchups that just really didn't favor me. The Pendulum matchup I never feel comfortable with. The Salamangreat matchup drives me nuts because I'll break their board every single turn. And every single turn, they'll just put it back. Which just, ooh. And then the Cyber Dragon matchup is, yeah, I had a chance there. I got unlucky with the bad draw and with the misplay at the end, and that frustrates me because that could have been a win. But hey, not much I can do about that. At the end of the day, I had a good time. I went, 2-3-1, and I've signed up for the Mega Regional tomorrow, so I'll keep you guys updated on how that one goes. Hopefully a bit better. If not, though, I've still had a good time here at YCS London. And, yeah, I'll see you guys tomorrow. Hey, so, here we are, heading into day 2. Running a bit late, hoping the line outside's not going to be too long. First match starts in 30 minutes, but yesterday was quite a long day, so at the end of the day, I ended up sleeping in. Hoping I'm not going to have to take a game loss. Hope I make it quick enough. Other than that, though, I'm feeling pretty good for the day. I got 6 rounds at the regional that I'm playing in today, and I'll let you guys know how each round goes, like I did yesterday. So, as you can see, it's sunny, which is nice, opposed to yesterday's rain. Round 1 didn't go great. I ended up against Thunder Dragon. My deck really doesn't have a whole lot it can do against Thunder Dragon. The first round, I went second. I had 2 Maximus in hand, and I had World Legacy Secrets in hand, and I had Time Maiden in hand. And so I thought, well, this isn't so bad because I can build 3 cards, and then I can take out his extra monster zone, so that he's locked into just his Titan, nothing else. But I went into Magius, and he pitched Thunderdark, and he used his Titan to pop my Magius. So therefore, there was nothing I could do. Round 2, he built a board with... I went first. Opened really badly. Time Maiden, Nightmare Corrupted Ridley. 2 Crusadia Maximus again. And Black Garden. I realized that if I'd gone with Black Garden, I would have taken all 4 of his zones. But it wouldn't have made a massive difference. I managed to Time Maiden lock him and put him under Ibly, which means that puts him in a situation where he can only Link Summon. So if he doesn't have a Link 1, he can't get rid of Ibly. but he can still normal summon. And the problem is with Thunder Dragon, they run a lot of level 5s and level 6s, so he was able just to tribute off the ability and play around that, which is unfortunate because I ended up with a board of Link Disciple, Crusadia Maximus, and that was basically it. A bit frustrating. The problem is I don't really have a good side for the Thunder Dragon matchup either. Imperial Iron Wall would be a good one. I used to run that at 3 in my side, but I stopped running it. One thing on the first round, the second round, I used Link Disciple to try and get rid of Crusadia Maximus, so that I could maybe draw into a Mech Knight, something like that, give me a bit bigger body on board. And I ended up drawing into the second Black Garden that I decided in, so that was unfortunate. I really ended up in a bad situation in the first round, but not much I can do about that, so yeah. Alright, see you guys at the next round. Alright, Salamangreat. Not much more I can say. First game I opened 5 spells and traps, no monsters. He went first, so I had the chance to draw into something, but I ended up drawing yet another spell. And I didn't have World Legacy Memory. I did try and play through that. I managed to put Crusadia Crawler on board and sort of get a search off of that, search for World Legacy Memory, held out for a turn, and then World Legacy Memory got ashed. That was it. I basically didn't get to play. Round 2, I went first. I opened a Mech Knight, an Iron Dragon Time-Maiden, and 3 spells and traps. Luckily, I opened Twin Twisters, Crusadia Power, and World Legacy Secrets. I set all 3 so that both extra zone monster zones are covered. And he plays on the side where I've set World Legacy Secret. He plays 2 cards. I activate Time-Maiden as a quick effect, blow up everything in that row. Unfortunately, that meant my secrets. He sets 2, I activate Twin Twisters. I have to pitch the purple Nightfall in hand. So now again, I'm hoping on a top deck. I go into, I get Crusadia Draco. Set Crusadia Draco, hoping that I can hold out for one more turn. I managed to. But he basically rebuilds his entire board. You know, he ended on a Balinx and nothing else, and he was able to build an entire board off of that. So I ended up in this really bad situation again. And then he just goes Heat Leo and starts bouncing stuff off of my board. He builds everything up again, and there's nothing I can do. It's the typical Salamangreat. And he Boral Swords me both games for the win. So, yeah. I decided to drop. I'm going to go see if there's another public event that I can join that maybe I'd have more fun with, maybe 2-on-2 or something like that. Alright, so I called it eventually. I dropped after the last round with the Salamangreat player. You know, if I played pretty much any other deck, I'd have kept going, but I'm just, you know, Thunder Dragon absolutely ousted me, and then Salamangreat really just... I hate that deck so much. Just the recursion. You can beat that deck 5 turns in a row, and every turn it will just put it all back. So I got frustrated with that. I then went and signed up just for like a pick-me-up tournament with 8 players, which was fun. The first round, I ended up against the guy who was playing Zombie World. I was really nervous of the rivalry lock, because that would have put me in a bad shape. While I can play around it, I do have some difficulties with it. I end up having to lean into my Mech Knights a lot to play around it. But hey, c'est la vie. What actually ended up happening is he didn't get into the rivalry at all. He first round opened 2 Zombie Worlds and 2 Called by the Graves and a Necro World Banshee. So what actually ended up happening was he normal summoned Necro World Banshee and then got rid of it so that he could get Zombie World on field, and then he basically set 4. Or he set the 2 Called by the Graves. And he also set a trap, so I guess he didn't have 2 Zombie Worlds in hand. But anyway, he set a trap and 2 Called by the Graves. I opened really, really well. I went full combo. Nightmare Corruptor Ibley, put that on his side of the field, locked him out of, tried to knock him out of things. And I went full combo, and I ended up getting Avermax on board, Time-Maiden locking him, and just sort of basically sitting on that for the turn. I attacked into him, did a bunch of damage, but for the most part just sat on it. Next turn, he just drew and went, "That's it, I'm done. You've won. I can't do anything to out you." I was like, okay. Second game, I sided in a couple Twin Twisters and a couple other things, and he goes first again, and he manages this time to get Zombie World on board and Doom King Beladrock in the grave, and he sets a trap. I loved it. I drew top deck of the Sentry into one of the Twin Twisters that I decided in, and the 5 cards I started with were full combo. So again, I ended up building a full board, and I managed to lock him out of everything by using getting 5 Mech Knights on board and activating World Legacy Secrets and World Legacy Corruption to turn off any traps. World Legacy Key to turn off any traps that might have possibly been there. So at the end of the day, I won that. Then I ended up against Sky Striker. First round didn't go well. He Hayate, searching, pitching, not much I could do. He literally went through 30 cards in his deck on his first turn. Like, he managed to go through everything, as Sky Striker does. Second game, I'm like, that's it, I'm not letting you go first, I'm going first. And I managed to tie mate and lock with Avermax on board and World Legacy Secrets in the back row. And what ended up happening was I also managed to use Corruptor Ibli to get there. So he ended up not being able to use any spell traps in his first main phase, switched Ibli to attack, crashed into Avermax, took the 3,000, crashed into Avermax, took the 3,000, and, he really just couldn't recover. And then in game 3, we basically got to the point where we were going into time. I had gotten him down to 1,000 life points. I had stolen his Hayate when he summoned it using Crackdown, and I'd done a bunch of other stuff. But at the end of the day, it just wasn't enough. So I ended up losing there. It was single elimination. I got my prize ticket. I went and got my pack, and it all sort of worked out. But yeah. So that was that. That was my YCS this year. I'll have a deck profile up in the week for you guys, the deck I played. And until next time, I'll see you then.